going to talk about how you can increase your distance off the tee with 2 easy training steps that I've used to help the current Australian long drive champion gain more distance with his tee shots. G'day guys, thanks for tuning in. So as stated, in this week's video we're going to find a way using 2 key methods to help you gain more distance off the tee. As you'll see there, that tee shot there, it's a nice smooth swing, didn't do anything too extravagant, and we got a 270 carry for a 291 yard total distance. And guys, that was just a very smooth swing to demonstrate the sort of before, and then we'll get into the after. So look, if you watch this video, you're quite clearly trying to improve your distance. And as I mentioned in the intro there, I was fortunate enough this year to work with the Australian long drive champion, who is 49 years old. That's very, very key to understand, so age isn't an issue here. At 49 years old, he went to the Australian finals and won with a 340 metre drive. Okay, so guys, at any age we can definitely work to improve our distance. We might not all hit 340, I can't hit 340, but we can all get a little bit more length off the tee. And it's actually a little bit easier than you perhaps would realise. So I want to talk you through the 2 main concepts that we worked with to improve this player's distance. Now, the first thing we look at is creating width, okay? That's something that's so important. We see a lot of players with their driver feel like they get wide, but they actually get very narrow. They just tend to get narrow and tall rather than create width. And with this particular player, similar thing, he was getting very, very tall hands, but not much width. So we need to build from the first part of the swing. So we're looking to create some additional width in the backswing. Now, as I say, there's a couple of ways of doing this, and I'm about to demonstrate with you guys a training method that we used, and it's a very cost-effective way of training to gain that ability to create some width in the backswing. Okay, so first thing that we worked upon was creating additional width in the backswing. Now, there are 2 ways that you can do this that I like as a coach. The first one is without any training equipment whatsoever. So don't need a golf club, don't need the training elastic band there. What we're going to do, very, very simple. Most players struggle to create width in the backswing because the right arm will tend to fold in and buckle in, okay? So we'll see players buckle the right arm in, which therefore pulls my left arm close, and we get this lack of extension in the left arm as a result of the right arm being a little bit more dominant and being closer to the body line. So we need to train the right arm to work out wider. Guys, this is super, super simple. I would just get this player to stand in his setup position, cross his hands over, and using the back of his right hand on the back of his left hand here, I'd simply get him to push as far away as he could, trying to, and from down the line here, trying to extend this right arm out as much as possible. Okay, so what you'll start to feel when you do that is you'll feel some stretches and pull through the upper back, especially through your left shoulder here as a right-handed player. I'm creating that additional width and extension, and by trying to push my right arm further away, I'm beginning to train myself to avoid being comfortable pulling the arm in. Now, we need to understand, guys, there is going to be, the arm is going to bend, there's going to be flexion in the arm, it's going to sit into a position where we're almost probably at about a 90-degree right angle here by the time we get to the top of the backswing. That's not being disputed, but what we're trying to do is avoid the arms collapsing and folding in, which is what we tend to see as a real common fault for players. So we're going to train by pushing on the back of the left hand just to the point where my club would be parallel to the ground or hip high, as we would say. So we're just going to do a few of those. 1, 2, 3. Now I can really feel that stretch there. So then what I would get him to do is then pick up his driver, set himself up, and having that same feeling, and this is important because we've generated and created a feeling by doing this motion. I feel it up in my left shoulder here. I'm going to try to replicate that feeling just with a club, not hitting the golf ball, but just swinging to parallel to the ground here. So as you can see, my right arm is beautifully extended out here, okay? To ensure that this arm therefore doesn't just buckle in, we would then work into the rotation element. And that's where the next part of the training is. This is the second part of the drill work we would look to do. one of these elastic stretchy bands, okay? You see them in like Pilates classes and things like that. You can pick them up at your local sporting goods store for pennies, dollars, like it's not going to cost you a lot of money. What I would get him to do is set up in his golf posture. This is important. We always want to set up in our golf posture because we're trying to replicate the feeling in training so that when we pick the club up it doesn't feel too alien. Sometimes I watch players do some of these training drills and they don't do them in the golf posture, so therefore when they do stand over to hit the golf ball, their brain's not quite sure what we're trying to do because we haven't been in this position before. We certainly haven't mimicked a swing motion from this position. So, we're into our golf posture. I'm just going to wrap this band just once around my, well, no, don't need to, this is a short band here. So what we're going to do is get ourselves into gripping the elastic band here. And you can see here, my right arm has a little bit of fold in it on the way back. This elastic band is providing resistance and pulling against me. So from here I'm simply going to push my right arm further away from the body at hip high. So you can see here I've created some good width. But now, instead of just lifting the arms up like most of us do, this is where using the elastic band here, what we're going to do is create more rotation. So from here, I'm then simply going to try to get my right hip and my right shoulder to match up behind the center line of my body. So that will look a little bit like this. So I get my stop point, my check point here. I'm going to hold that for a few seconds. My right shoulder and my right hip here have rotated together. Guys, if you're like me and maybe a little bit unfit, a little bit out of shape yourself, you're going to start to feel a little bit of stress and strain through that, but in a good way, okay? Feel myself, muscles are starting to activate, I'm starting to use different muscles I haven't used for a little while. But what I am going to do is do that 5 times, okay? I'm going to have a sort of 10-second rest in between each one. So we're going to make the motion, we're going to stop at hip high, just like this. Part 1. Part 2 is then the rotation element. Going to hold that for 5 seconds. And then down through into our impact where everything begins to relax. We're going to do that 5 times. Then what we should hopefully see, if we just get rid of that for a second, is that we're going to find the golf ball should be going a little bit further and that the golf ball speed should increase. So the last golf ball speed was 152 miles per hour. Again, guys, it was just a little chippy one. Let's see now, having done those 2 drills, how much more stretch that I've managed to create, therefore how much more distance can I potentially get. So guys, as you can see there, we cracked the magical 300-yard barrier. So 276-yard drive. We got the ball speed marginally up. Carry distance was solid there. So guys, just creating that little bit extra width through those really simple training methods. And guys, that's only the first part. I will stress that, okay? I need you guys to make sure you stay tuned because we are going to have a series on this, okay? It wasn't just one lesson that we did this to help this player hit the ball longer. This was just the first building block. So just a quick recap there. We're going to practice without a golf club. Put that on the ground for here. We're going to simply take the back of the right hand onto the back of the left as a right-handed player. We're going to push the right hand as far away from the body as we can, which enables us to create that feeling of right arm extension by the time we get to hip high from here. Then we're going to use the elastic training band there. Again, a very simple, easy and cost-effective tool to use. Place it underneath the left foot there. We're going to create tension through the band just until we get to hip high. Really trying to push that right arm away. And then from there, we're simply going to try to match up our left shoulder and our right hip line here to match each other in a straight line behind the body to create additional rotation. Guys, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I do hope that some of the information that you've heard today will help you improve your golf game. As always, you can follow me on my social media channels, so you can follow me on my Facebook community page. You've got TikTok and Instagram for shorter forms of what we're talking about here, so those little bite-sized bits of information that can help you, with essentially a very quick way to try to understand what we've spoke about today. You've also, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you stay up to date. The little bell, make sure that's ticked and clicked so that you don't miss when the videos get released. And guys, more than anything, if you know someone that needs some help with their golf game, if you know someone that's struggling, guys, share this content with them and let's hopefully help them play better, which makes their game better, which makes your experience with them more enjoyable. And until next time, happy golfing.